Hi there, Trish Mangold, holistic health practitioner here, and I'm back with my friend Kim Bressler from SNP Nutrigenomics. And today, I just wanted to share with you a few of her client experiences because I'm all about gut health and I'm all about building resilience to environmental toxins and life stressors so that we can live the most vibrant lives that we can. So thank you for joining me again, Kim.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Trish, it's always so much fun because I love the work that you're doing. You do some really cool specialty things that I think everybody should know about, but I've seen a lot of things over the last several years with genetics. And I've got one specific story. I've got a lot of stories, but um, I've learned a lot from clients and providers that we work with about addressing genetics and what happens. And one very special, near and dear story to me was I had a lady that came to me and she said, I have been sick for 25 years. Nobody can tell me what's wrong. They tell me it's fibromyalgia, but I can eat next to nothing. She would carry around an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, front and back, of everything she could and couldn't. It was could and couldn't eat. The majority was what she could not eat. And she would explain to me, I can have a clean cooked chicken breast and this or this type of oil. Now, is this sounding familiar? She was that person that was already, her body was really having a hard time with any of the seed oils long ago. But that and steamed broccoli, that was virtually what she lived on.
Exciting.
Yeah, right. The woman now is probably in her early 70s, always chronic gut issues, always fatigued. Well, think about it. She wasn't getting nutrients in her body. I mean, broccoli is amazing. It's sulforaphane and the nutrients that is in it, but broccoli and chicken, that's it.
You need variety.
Yeah. You need variety. Anyway, well, she said to me she had to try this, and I said, "Yes, I'm excited for you too." Because remember, let's go back through and talk about what her symptoms. According to her provider, they thought it was fibromyalgia, which some believe that, some don't. So she was just chronically burning, never felt well, chronically fatigued, totally gut issues. She looked frail. She looked so frail. Anyway, she decides to genetically swab. And she gets her customized formula. I think we should show what the customized formula looks like.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets her customized formula, and the base of the formula is whole foods. It's prebiotics and digestive enzymes. It literally has a person's name on it. That's mine. I brought it just to show it. That's my monthly formula. But one of the ingredients in the base is tomato powder.
Tomato powder?
Tomato powder.
Okay.
We use whole foods. The body recognizes food, right? And there's a lot of micronutrients in food. Anyway, she saw that and she said, I don't think I can take it. I'm highly allergic to tomatoes. And I said, oh, I guess send it back then. And she said, no, nobody's ever been able to help me. I have to try. And I said, okay, stop. I said, you're not anaphylactic shock allergic to tomatoes, are you? And she said, no. And I said, well, what happens? She says, when I eat anything with tomato in it, my entire mouth is like one huge canker sore.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, ooh. So
Cooked or raw? Doesn't matter.
didn't matter. Did not matter. That was the reaction that she had. And I said, I truly can't advise you on that. But she goes, you know what? And I said it earlier, she is that big person that taught me, you don't get sick overnight, you don't heal overnight. That response, that histamine response, that the inflammation, whatever was happening in her body is what would cause that. So she gets on the product, but let's talk about how she got on the product. She started really slow. An adult dose is 5 capsules morning and 5 lunch. Okay. Again, it's whole food based. So she started on 1 capsule. She did that for a few days, and we were talking every day. And I said, "How are you doing?" She said the very first day she took that 1 capsule, her mouth was sensitive, but not the response that she normally has. So she stayed on 1 capsule for numerous days. Then she moved it up to 2, and then to 3. It was about the end of 4 months. I started getting phone calls. You're not going to believe what I ate. And I said, what? salsa, my very favorite thing in the world. I haven't had it for 25 years
Oh my gosh.
and no reaction, no reaction whatsoever. So I think if you're really committed to your health, so that's what it takes. She needed to take that time and go slow, open up these pathways, optimize them to work again. Uh, it was a bit after that I was doing, I had a presentation with a group of providers, so doctors, and she wanted to speak, and she says, Kim, and so we've got to be careful, right? We aren't here to cure. I'm not here to diagnose or to treat. I support you at a foundational cellular level. But she got up and she spoke. She goes, I can't say that I don't have fibromyalgia anymore, but I don't feel that way. And I was like, yeah. Oh. She said, but she looked at me and she started crying. She said, for the first time in 25 years, I can go to a restaurant. She said, I still make choices, clean choices. She said, but when I order, the only two things that I have to ask about is I don't want dairy and I don't want any sugar. Other than that, I can eat anything off the menu.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
And she said, I mean, she was crying with tears. That's life changing.
And
I think there's a lot more people out there.
And I love that she didn't give up. She's 70 years old and she's like, you know what? I know that there's a better way. She had faith in her body that this wasn't something that she had to suffer with for the rest of her life.
Absolutely. Oh,
She
the woman
knew that she could heal.
She travels. She travels multiple times a year. She said she's experiencing life, right? I mean, I mean, experiencing life, going somewhere and trying new things. As long as it doesn't have dairy or sugar in it, she's good to go. And she's not having those reactions. So that's one really key one. A lot of people, I've been doing some research. I think if we can jump to another.
Yes, please.
A lot of people,
It's very inspiring.
I've been doing some research about iron recently, and a lot of people are anemic, right? And I don't have enough data to truly share, but I just watched a presentation this morning from a provider talking about how iron is actually iron has this ability to also be very toxic, right? Okay, so
They always test ferritin levels, right? For a reason.
Right. So we do have a client, and so I want to talk about iron. We don't. One of the first people that I'd ever swabbed, and she goes, "I'm anemic, and there's no iron in this." Right? Well, truly, unless it's something very rare or a disorder of some sort, iron is you address the methylation pathways. The body starts naturally absorbing the iron it needs from the food you eat.
Oh, I love that, because taking iron supplements can be so difficult for people and cause a lot of other negative, unwanted experiences.
And there's so much toxicity that can be through that. We should be getting the iron we need. I will be happily share this presentation from a provider at a recent conference talking about iron and how toxic it can be. But so let's go to a very specific individual that has sent us in. We have a client, SNP Nutrigenomics has a client. This client, she has shared, she has mast cell activation. Mast cell activation is where virtually the body is turning on and trying to kill it. I mean, I think she has 40 plus autoimmune diagnoses. And she was this individual that she was highly anemic. Every 3 months, she was going in for 5 iron injections.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She had already addressed her genetics. She has a team of doctors because of her mast cell, from neurology to cardiologists. I mean, you name it, she's got them. Anyway, and they'd already done genetic mapping, and she was taking a whole bunch of off the shelf stuff. She'd been doing it. And she was better, but when she did her genetic test with us and we put her on her customized formula, again, she was still doing iron injections, 5 iron injections every 3 months. You had to space them over so much time. She's actually shared her blood work with us. Since being on our customized formula, she has not had to have 1 iron injection.
That's amazing. I have like 3 clients in mind that would be really love to hear about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, this woman hadn't been, because of her mast cell, that would be like if Trish was sitting next to me and she had put on, a perfume or anything, it it can cause the histamine the reaction that she would have could set her into a virtually cardiac arrest.
Wow.
So with that in mind, she doesn't do a lot of things out in public. And she hasn't for over 10 years. After being on her customized for a little over a year, she went to an outdoor concert last year.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
She's gotta
okay,
like
so
that.
let's talk about that's life. I mean, that's what we want. We are beings, we're social. We need community. We need to be around people. You need somebody smiling at you. We need hope that that's going to be there. And it's totally changed her life. She shared multiple different stories. That's just one that was really, really key, that because she shared all the blood work, and she shared because of her health condition, she shared everything with us. And it's one story after the next that she shared with us of the changes that it's made. So not everybody has the drastic. I always love to talk about my husband because you don't always feel what's happening at a cellular level. But we also don't remember how
Good you can feel.
good that, yeah, right. Well, just like so many people are like, oh, my blood work's normal, I don't need to do anything. And I'm like, well, do you have symptoms? See, that's where Western and natural need to come together.
Mhm.
We need to be we need to be charting,
Optimize.
we need to chart our symptoms. What's your sleep like? What's your when you wake up, do you feel energized? Do you wake up and go to the bathroom? Do you have to do something to help yourself go to the bathroom? I mean, that's detoxing, right? There's so many key things there. My husband loves it's customized. He loves that it's made just for him, but he doesn't feel it like I feel it. I feel better energy, better sleep, better joint mobility, clearer skin. I was that person that used to always get what you call Mila, which is kind of like cystic acne.
Mhm.
I think that's because it was the way my body was not detoxing at the right capacity. But what we see for him is improved blood work.
Oh, nice.
So the whole panel and how we formulate literally lines up with common and standard blood work. The CMP, the CBC, vitamin D serum, C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker, that kind of stuff. So those are a couple stories. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Stories?
Anything with perimenopause symptoms, menopausal, fertility, any fertility things out there?
Okay, all right. Remember, we're not here to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent, but we are here to support the body at a whole.
And I will say, even if you're not even thinking of getting pregnant, that fertility is like a vital sign of longevity and youth. And if you should have a cycle and you don't, or if you should really just work on optimizing your fertility, whether you're male or female. That's a little side note from me.
Okay. Well, let's go to me, because I
Yeah.
love to talk about my whole story. What led me to nutrigenomics was the fact that I did go 11 years undiagnosed and misdiagnosed with not one, but two autoimmunes. To this day, I do not take any pharmaceuticals. I live pharmaceutical free and I feel really good. But in my, I guess it was in my early 40s. Oh, I will say this because this is your audience, right?
Mhm.
I'll be 53 next month. And in my early 40s, I will never forget, I was standing, we were renovating a home and I was picking out towels at Macy's for my daughter's new beautiful bathroom. I needed the right color of blue. And I was standing in line and the lady looks at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" I guess I went completely flush white,
Oh,
then bright red, and sweat started beating down me. It
oh,
was
wow.
my first hot flash.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's in my early 40s. Okay.
So that's premature, and that some might think for hot flash, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then the night sweats,
Okay.
they were atrocious.
Mm.
Well, okay. Here I am. I have not now had my period for probably 2-3 years. We all know what we know when we know it. I was definitely struggling and I ended up doing ablation. And my period stopped. When I first addressed my genetics, I got my period back.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Very, very mild. Now sounds a little bit weird, but I mean, that is one thing about, if we go back to iron, what is is good to know is that's when women are menstruating. That is getting rid of that blood that extra iron that you may not need, right? Well, anyway, so I think to explain, I don't get night sweats or hot flashes. I am truly in full on menopause. Um, and I know that because of my follicle stimulating hormone and the numbers on that. But yeah, I don't have hot flashes and night sweats. I believe that my body is just more at a level of health and wellness and at a homeostasis. So yes, we hear it quite often that the symptoms are less. It's not to say that you might not need to do your bioidenticals or this or that. I'm not doing them as of yet, but yeah, no hot flashes or night sweats for me, which is fantastic.
That's wonderful.
So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
There was another story in that you asked, oh, fertility.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say there was another story. I got lots of stories. We do have a young lady. She was in her young 30s. And she was very familiar with the MTHFR, which has to do with fertility, definitely has to do with fertility. She just didn't think she could ever get pregnant. She got on the customized and was taking it. And what do you know? Unbeknownst, she's pregnant. She takes her customized formula into her provider, her naturopath, and she says, because the lady says, what have you been doing? And she said, I've been doing this. And the doctor, who was a genetic specialist as well, I mean, she understood the genetics, maybe not a specialist. She goes, your body's prepped and primed to get pregnant. That young woman delivered a very healthy little girl. She named her Mira for Miracle
Oh,
because she
beautiful.
thought she never could get pregnant. So yeah, it's pretty special when we get the body doing what it needs to do. The body does what it needs to do. Give it what it needs. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, the body makes no mistakes. So if it's not feeling nurtured and supported, then it's not going to be feeling safe to house a baby. So
I think that's the thing that is so fascinating, because we could sit here and go down rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. And the more I learn, the more fascinated I am with the body and its ability to heal, recover, and to do everything that it's able to do. And that's what personalization is bringing us to. That's what is so very, very powerful.
And it's never been more accessible or affordable, and to do in the comfort of your home. You saw me do it, and it takes seconds. So yeah, it's wonderful. I'm really excited. And thank you for bringing your research and company and time to us today. And
and we'll continue to share stories. We'd love to hear your stories. We're coming up with a way now that we can ultimately take and generate those stories back. So because we're all dealing with something different. Your genetics are different than mine. Your lifestyle is different than mine. You eat different than I do, but this is where we can come in and help you optimize at that cellular level.
Yeah,
so
it's all about building, supporting the balance, building resilience and longevity. Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for listening.